Okay, moving along, let's explore the ruler tool. So just like in the analog world, the ruler is going to help me make straight lines. So let's say that I wanted to make a T-chart. I can just grab a pen and do lines here, and that's not too bad. And to be honest, it's not a whole lot worse than what I would have in a regular classroom if I was doing this in a brick and mortar setting, if I was going to make a T-chart. So you can make lines pretty straight with the sensitivity of the screen, but if you want it perfectly straight, you'll need to bring up the ruler tool. So if you tap it, you'll see the ruler pop up. I'm going to come over to the screen where I have some white space. And you'll notice it gives the degree readout in real time, which is really cool. I could see that being really powerful in a math lesson. So to rotate the ruler, you just need kind of a finger and a thumb, or two fingers, one on each side of that protractor, and you can kind of rotate it to the degree that you want. And then now, if I get my pen anywhere close to that ruler's edge, it's just going to snap to it and make a perfectly straight line. So if I wanted a perfectly, evenly spaced ruler, I can kind of use the thickness of the ruler as its own space. Let's move up a little bit. And then I can rotate it, to make my vertical line here. And now I've got a pretty perfect T-chart there, if you care about having it a little more precise than just doing it freehand. So that's the ruler tool. To get rid of the ruler tool, all I have to do is just tap it again on the bottom tray and it'll disappear. Now the lasso tool, I talked a little bit before about, just selecting words. So if I had the word math here, I can touch that word and select it. But say you have a number of things. So let me come up to this T-chart, and let's say I wanted to select that T-chart. Well, if I tap it, I might get it, and in this case I did get it, but it didn't capture. You can see if I try to move it, it actually didn't capture those three lines underneath. So if you wanted to capture everything in something in sort of a complex shape, or let's say I have math, with Mr. Rao. So now I've got a number of objects here, and if I just tap on them, it's not going to select them all by themselves. But if I wanted to move that whole statement, I can just bring up the lasso and then draw a lasso around whatever you would like to move. So this is a way of selecting multiple things at once. And again, all the same features. I can make all of that text another color. I can copy it. I can cut it. I can move it wherever I'd like. Same here with sort of this T-chart I have. If I just draw that object around it, now I can, or that lasso around it, now I can move this as one object as opposed to, multiple objects. So the lasso is a great tool for selecting things. Again, let's say I wanted to put, math with Mr. Rao, and let's say I had a T-chart going on. This one's a little bit messier, but I'm going to zoom out a little bit and lasso all of this. And when I copy it, if I tap that copy, I can come anywhere. I can come up here and pull up a Google document or something. So let me open up my Google Drive. And if I paste that, I can hit Control V, or you can right click and paste it. But it's going to treat that as as one image. So it's going to convert that handwriting that I lassoed into a single image. So I can move it around a little bit in the Google Doc and kind of wrap my text around it if I wanted, but it's going to treat it as one. I can't do any more freestyle, writing. But this is a really powerful way of getting sort of annotations or handwriting into a Google document or a Google slide or even an email. A lot of people ask questions about, hey, can they, how can they solve a problem for a student in a Google document, freehand, like a math problem or something? And that's not possible within the Google environment. But if you had, your Microsoft Whiteboard open, you could just sort of have that problem and jot down a solution and then bring that into wherever you needed to. So that's the lasso tool, great for selecting multiple things at once. The text tool is pretty self-explanatory. If you tap that text, you can, write, this is a sentence. You can just type it out. So if you've got poor handwriting like myself, and you're a little bit worried about legibility, then you can just actually type it if you want. Notice though, you don't have a lot of control over the font or the size or anything. So I can come here and edit a little bit of it. So let me zoom in. So I can make it more legible just by zooming in, and notice that it kept its clarity pretty well. So if I tap that, I can click that little pencil to edit the text that I was writing in. You can tap it and push that thumbs up to like it. To be honest, I don't know of many applications for that in the classroom, maybe in a PLC meeting, if teachers were voting on, you know, a certain strategy or something, you could take a quick little straw poll that way. You can also adjust the color of the text here. So I can change the color of the text, copy it, I could delete it, but you can't really change the font or the, you know, if you wanted that to be Times New Roman, you can't really do that. Or the size, you can't manipulate that. So you have to manipulate like the screen around it to get it to be the size that you want. The sticky note tool is very similar to the text tool, only now obviously I've got a sticky note. So this is a sticky note. And the cool thing about that is in virtual instruction, this would be a really good tool for using like a live synchronous brainstorming session. So you can kind of zoom out and have a nice big wide area on your canvas, and then, you know, through Google Meet or Zoom or another video conferencing platform, Microsoft Teams, you can just pop open a sticky note and say, you know, hey Maria, what do you think the theme of that story is? And she can sort of give you her response in real time, and you can just type it and then move her, tap her response and kind of move that with the others, and then say, okay, you know, Johnny, what do you think the theme is? And you can kind of type his response as well, and then tap it again and move it, and build sort of a live brainstorming wall, which would be pretty neat. If you tap any of these, you can't change the color of the text, but you can change the color of the sticky note just through that little palette. So if you wanted to kind of organize the stickies that way, you can change those after the fact as well. And our next video, we'll talk about the image one, because that one's a little more complex and is probably worthy of its own introduction.